Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing my Q&A video. These are all questions from you. Cruelty Free Lucy wants to know, what is your best tip for matching foundation? So my best tip, at least for me and people like me, is to match your foundation to your neck and your chest. Because for me personally, I have rosacea. So that means I have a lot of redness to my face. If I match a foundation to my face, it looks red. It looks like I'm sunburnt. It is not a good look. But if you match more to your neck and your chest, you're going to have a more uniform look with your body, and that's what you want. So it's better to like stripe your foundations here and see which ones match and then put it on your face rather than just match to your face, because your face may be a different color from the rest of your body. So you should try to match that so you are uniform, as opposed to just like this floating dismembered head that's either too dark or too light. I wore the wrong foundation shade for years, and it was because I kept getting matched to the wrong shade at the MAC counter. I would go to MAC and say, please match me to a foundation. They would match me to NC15 or NW15 because at that time, I guess those were the lightest shades they made. So I would literally have a dark head and then this blindingly white neck and chest. And so a friend of mine finally said after a while, why don't you look online at indie brands or something, because there might be mineral makeup that would be a better match for your skin tone. And I was like, okay, I had no idea these existed. House of Hounds asks, why are you such a babe? No, but seriously, what has your favorite hair color ever been? So my favorite hair color that I've ever done is actually a tie between two different ones. There's a purple sunset hair that I did to myself, which I love because it was like purple, pink, and orange, and I'll put a picture of it up here. I also really love this purple combo that Christian did on me, which was like sort of pinky purple by the face and then more of a blue tone purple at the tips. I thought it looked amazing, so I'll put that picture up too. I actually really want to change my hair color, but right now Christian's in Norway, so I'm gonna have to wait till he gets back. My Beauty Bunny asks, what are your favorite makeup brushes for eye makeup? So I know I did a whole video on what are my favorite brushes for hooded eyes, but I'll touch on a couple of those brushes right now. The Sigma E25, the Sigma E36, the Sigma E6, the Urban Decay Iconic brush, the Urban Decay Tapered Blending brush, the Urban Decay Moon Dust brush, the Urban Decay Tightline and Detailed Smudger brushes, the Kat Von D Double-Ended brush, and the Real Techniques base brush. Those are probably all of my favorite eye brushes, but I'll put a link to the video where I talk more in depth about eye brushes that I love so that you can check them out and see what they look like and see how they work on my eyes. Allison Renee asks, what's your favorite long-wearing liquid lipstick and what are your favorite hair products? My favorite long-wearing liquid lipsticks are the Jouer liquid lipsticks. They don't really have any exciting shades, but all of the shades that they have are extremely comfortable to wear and they last for hours and hours and hours. They don't really make my lips feel like dried out and they don't want to like peel off afterwards. Like, I love the Kat Von D liquid lipsticks, but my lips do peel after like I've worn them like the next day or so, so that's not necessarily my favorite thing to deal with. For hair products, I pretty much love Cocoa Pink. I love their Argan Replenishing Serum. I love their Argan Therapy Cream Conditioner, their Champagne Shampoo. Like, basically almost all of the hair products they make, I love. The other cruelty-free hair products that I really love are Batiste Dry Shampoo, which is vegan. Overtones Go Deep Hair Mask is my favorite hair mask because you just buy it in whatever color you're dyeing your hair and it helps keep your hair color fresh forever and ever. For stuff like hairspray, probably Paul Mitchell, because again, they're cruelty-free and I think they're Leaping Bunny certified, so their products are pretty amazing. Oive Senorita asks, why and how did you pick your username? So my username on YouTube is Phyrra Nyx, and the name Phyrra actually came from my D&D, because I'm a geek, drow elf character that I played years and years ago, and Nyx is the goddess of the night, so she's basically, I'm basically calling her like a night elf, but that's not really what she was anyway. Her name was Phyrra, and so I've played that character in some incarnation for years and years and years. Absolutely love her. That's where I chose my name from, because I just got so used to that from gaming. Decadence Calling asks, what are your favorite cleansers for dry skin? Right now, I love the Metron Double Cleanse that I'm doing, which is like a really creamy cleanser at the beginning, and then it's a sort of like foaming, or they call it a lathering cleanser that's second, so the double cleansing is awesome. I also love the Paula's Choice Optimum Hydrating Cleanser, Paula's Choice Calm Resist. Like the one for rosacea is really nice. The other thing that I really liked was the Abby St. Clair Anaba cleanser, but that's another one like specifically for rosacea. Those are like my favorite ones. I did just buy a new cleanser to try out from Glossier. Yeah, I just bought the Glossier Milky Jelly cleanser to give that one a try. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know if it's good for dry skin, but my hope is that it would be good. Ivy Perez asks, what made you start blogging and why did you do YouTube? So I actually started blogging because as I mentioned previously, I was wearing the wrong foundation shade. I started trying to find mineral foundations online. I couldn't really find a lot of reviews. This was in 2008. Like, one of the only sites I could find for mineral foundation reviews was Shades of You by Eileen. And so I was like, well, I guess I could just start writing about my experiences. And so that's really how I started blogging, was I basically transitioned from writing on LiveJournal to writing on my blog. And I made the move to do YouTube videos after people kept repeatedly asking me to do videos. Now, I have anxiety disorder, and right now, like, I take medication, I see a therapist, and that's awesome. Before, I was trying to do this and I just was struggling with it because I get so nervous that I get really stiff, and it's really hard for me to open up and loosen up and be the way you would see, it's hard for me to be the way that you would see me if you were hanging out with me in person. I'm getting better at it, and it's definitely something you can kind of see come through when I hang out with like Mickey, because he's really funny. So yeah, that's how I got started on it. I never really wanted to do YouTube. I never thought anybody would want to hear from me. I was like, why should I make YouTube videos? There are already people out there who are so much better. Because like when I started, I think the big people were like Michelle Phan, Elisa Jade, Corin from Encore. So I was just like, I don't really, I'm not even a professional makeup artist. And people kept saying, yeah, but we like what you have to say because you're unique, you're honest. And so that's really kind of how it started. And I've continued with that, I always disclose, I tell you what I really think of something, whether it's positive, negative, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. Next question, Ivy asks, what is your one holy grail skincare product? Holy crap, this is hard. I would have to say it's one of two products, and I'm sorry, it's really, really hard for me to narrow this down, but either the Paula's Choice Redness Relief Cream, because I use this at night, or this Lucy Minerals Ambrosia for Dry Skin Oil, because I use this twice a day, and this stuff, holy wow, it's really helped my skin. So one of these two, that's the best I can do. Erica Doom asks, why did you start blogging? What's your best advice for somebody just starting out? Well, I already talked about why I started blogging. My best advice for somebody starting out is be authentic, be true, share your honest opinion. Don't just start it because you want free stuff, because you may never get free stuff. I've had a lot of people ask me how to start blogs. I've helped them start blogs, and then they give up on it because they're like, it's too much work. I personally feel like if you're going to start blogging, you have to be willing to be consistent. Just like with YouTube, you have to be consistent with it. At least tell people that you're going to blog, once or twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever you're going to do, so that they know to look for what you're doing. Put yourself out there, be friendly. Don't just go spam people and leaving comments of, go check out my blog, go check out my video. That really irritates people. But there are all kinds of places that are approved to share stuff, that you can share stuff. So, just make sure that if you're sharing your content on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, whatever you do, that it's like an approved place to be sharing it. And please don't spam people in the comments. It's really, really annoying. So Tracy Dunn asked a bunch of questions, so I'm going to go through all of them. The first one is, what inspired you to go cruelty free? And I started blogging in 2008, and in 2012, MAC decided to no longer be cruelty-free because they started selling in China, where animal testing is mandatory. And that was really my catalyst into going cruelty-free, because I used mostly cruelty-free brands, but I did still buy stuff in the drugstore. So I bought like L'Oreal, Maybelline, CoverGirl, and I stopped buying those brands because I'm just like, I can't believe MAC is doing this. MAC, for as long as I know about them, and I first learned about MAC in '99 when Ray took me to my first MAC store, and I was like, oh, they're awesome, and they don't test on animals, and they say that. No, they started testing on animals. They basically decided that they were going to sell in China. That just really, I don't know. It was so upsetting to me that they were going to throw the morals out the window to sell in China, that I was just like, well, I'm not going to buy from them, because it was so fucked up. And it really upset me. So I wrote MAC a handwritten letter and said, I can't believe you're doing this, please reconsider. And they never sent me a response back. I sent them an email, and I got like some sort of form letter bullshit back about how they were going to try to change China from the inside. And I didn't believe it. And yeah, basically that was what pushed me into going cruelty free. She next asked, when did you decide to start blogging? I started blogging in 2008. Before that, I kind of like shared like my makeup looks on LiveJournal, and a friend of mine suggested maybe I should start a blog because she was like, well, you might really enjoy doing it. And I was like, I was like, well, you're probably right, because I started basically sharing some of my reviews on my live journal before I moved to my blog. She also asks, I'm sure you have a large collection of makeup. What do you do with the products that you don't use that often? So for me, any product that after I review it, if I know I'm not going to use it, I give it away to friends. I don't sell makeup, and the reason I don't sell makeup is because I don't believe in selling PR samples. As far as I know, you should never ever do that, but I don't see something wrong with me giving something to a friend who will then get use out of it. So that's what I do with it. For most everything, I've really been trying to pare my collection down to what I use, and anything I am not going to use up, I do put into a donate pile, and basically my friends can come take whatever they want. I used to also give stuff to a friend of mine who would take it to her church for like the women's shelter stuff. So that's what I do with it. And I don't know, people are usually pretty happy to come by and go pick out an item or two. Heather Kelly asks, what are your top 5 cruelty-free makeup brands? Okay, Urban Decay, Kat Von D, Silk Naturals, Phyrra, Sugar Pill. Those are my top 5. She also asks, can you do a video on your makeup collection? At some point I will. I'm still trying to rearrange my room, my makeup room, and get some more shelving up, and it's not finished right now, so I want to wait until I have this room the way I want it, and then I will happily do a video on it and say, hey, this is my room. This is like the smallest room in my home, so I don't have a lot of space, and I'm still trying to figure out the best way to utilize my space. Mickey had some ideas, so I may actually get his help in rearranging my room. So yeah, until that happens, I will not be doing a video, but once I have that done, I will do a video. Delilah Sue Huckleberry asks, what is the best technique for applying indie loose eyeshadows? So in my opinion, the best way to apply most loose eyeshadows is, it depends. Like if they're a duochrome color or a super sparkly color, I think that you need to apply them over Phyrra Pixie Epoxy or Darling Girl Glitter Glue, and then you usually just brush it on. But you can also pat it on to try to help the duochrome nature or whatever show up. So one of those two methods. I found personally that when you're working with loose eyeshadow, you dip your brush in, you tap it off, and then like pat it on if you're going to tap it on the lid, and that will give you a nice even coverage of color without a lot of fallout. I know like with Phyrra Pixie Epoxy, they do specifically say that you don't like tap it on so much as you brush it on. So in that case, I would load up your brush a little bit more and then just brush it on once it's sticky. Josie Brooke asks, what procedures or facials at a medical spa do you love or recommend for someone with similar skin type to yours? So I have rosacea, I have sensitive skin, and I have dryness. For me, I personally recommend getting IPL done if you have rosacea to help reduce some of your facial redness. I'm actually in the process of trying to find a new doctor to go to get IPL done. I really wish that my dermatologist office would offer IPL service. I feel like half the doctors that I've checked out in Tampa that do IPL are freaking quacks. Like they overcharge and they don't do a good job. So I feel like it's really difficult to actually find a good medical spa to go get something done where they're not overpriced. But yeah, I don't actually do a lot of like, I go to the spa a lot to get like my nails done or my lashes done when I was doing my lashes, and sometimes to get a massage, but I don't really go to the salon that often for like facials and stuff, and maybe I should, but I usually just give myself a facial at home, or I use a mask at home. My favorite mask actually is the Glossier Moisturizing Moon Mask, which I think is great for my dry sensitive skin. Miss Judy XO asks, what do you think is lacking in the beauty community? Like a product type, knowledge sharing, professionalism? Let's see, what do I think is lacking? I feel like there's a lack of diversity in the most popular bloggers. I feel like there's a certain look that a lot of the most popular bloggers have, and I do not have that look. And I feel like it's hard for people who do not share that look to kind of break that barrier. She also asks, what sort of videos would you like to see more of in the community? I personally would like to see more helpful tutorials that explain techniques for, you know, different eye shapes. Like I said, I'm not a professional makeup artist, and my eyes are hooded and slightly downturned. So it's been really hard for me to find people who create tutorials for my eyes, and that's why I've tried to share my tutorials, but I am not an expert, I am not trained, I don't have a degree in makeup. So like I do the best that I can, and I ask my friends who are makeup artists for tips. So I would like to see more makeup artists do tech tutorials that are helpful for people who have different eye shapes, not just my eye shape, not just hooded, but just all the different eye shapes, because I feel like it can be very hard if you don't have like a lot of lid space to find people who have eyes that look similar to yours doing tutorials that will help you learn how to apply makeup better. Kamalch asks, if you had to part with one type of makeup product for the rest of your life, what would that be? Wow. I would part with mascara, because I much prefer just getting lash extensions, even though it's expensive, to applying mascara. Just VJAS asks, as a brown gal, I have a very hard time finding perfect complexion product shades, especially those that are shipped internationally in the organic line for sensitive skin. Do you have any recommendations? So I don't have really any organic recommendations, but I do have vegan recommendations. Cover FX is a brand that acknowledges all global shades of beauty. I wear their shade N0, and they make all the way up to N140, 120, no, 120. So I wear N0, which is like a super pale neutral, and N120 is like a super deep ebony neutral shade. They also have a lot of golden shades, which are warm, and pink shades, which are cool, and everything in between. So I think they offer right now like over 40 different foundation shades and like 3 different lines. So like in their cream foundation, 40 different shades. In their liquid foundation, 40 different shades. In their powder foundation, 40 different shades. Unfortunately, in the custom cover drops, they don't offer N0. They don't have as wide of a range in the custom cover drops, which is too bad. But I absolutely recommend that line because they acknowledge that women of all colors exist. They don't just have 20 shades of beige. They don't just have like light and medium shades. They have really deep dark shades, and they have really ultra pale shades, and it's a really nice refreshing change. I wish every brand was as conscientious about, you know, pale skin and deep skin. I feel like too many brands just focus on the 20 shades of beige and call it a day. Krista Mayhew asks, how long have you been on YouTube? What made you start your channel? I think I started making YouTube videos in 2009 or 2010, but they were terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I started actually making like swatch videos of some of the Meow stuff, the Meow cosmetic stuff that I reviewed. Obviously, I started my channel because of my blog. I started my blog in 2008, and it is now 2017. I have been blogging for almost 9 years. It'll be 9 years in May. Kind of crazy. Lorraine Valdespino asks, could you explain the intersection between vegan and cruelty-free? Okay, so every product that is vegan is normally cruelty-free. Vegan products, what it means to be vegan is it doesn't have any animal products, no animals were harmed in the making. It doesn't even have any animal byproducts. So vegan is like, I don't want to say pure, but we're gonna say pure for the purpose of this video. So cruelty-free products are products that no animals are harmed in the making, but they may have animal byproducts, and by animal byproducts I mean like they may have honey or beeswax or milk. So a product can be cruelty-free and not vegan. She also asks, what is the best way to find samples for products that are only sold online? Really, all you can do is email a brand and ask if they do samples if they're only sold online. Some brands do, like Aroma Lee and Phyrra, they offer small sample sizes. Other brands don't offer samples, like Silk Naturals does not offer samples, but they do have a really excellent return policy. Fancy Fluffy Socks asks, what is the thing you love the most about Phaedra and why? So, can you see Phaedra back here sleeping on this bed? What I love the most about her is that she is my awesome cuddle companion, and she keeps me feeling calm. Like I mentioned previously, I have anxiety disorder, and having her in my life, she's just been like this stable rock. She calms me down. If I'm upset, what I like to do is actually just hold her in my lap, in my arms, and just pet her, and it just calms me down and makes me feel so much better. So I love that she has such a calming, positive effect on me. Amanda Rowe asks, not a beauty question at all, but I love poodles too, though I've never owned one. How, why, what led you to adopt a standard poodle? I know they're super smart. Does she need a lot of exercise and attention? So actually, all of my pets in my life, except for Phaedra, have been adopted. Phaedra I bought. And the reason I bought Phaedra is because I couldn't find a standard poodle to adopt. In Florida, I don't know why, there are several poodle rescues, but they never have standard poodles, or it's a very rare thing to find a standard poodle. The few standard poodles that I saw, as soon as I put in to try to adopt, they were already adopted out. So I ended up finding a breeder and buying Phaedra. Now, I think that Phaedra and I were meant to be because she actually has a health condition called Addison's disease, and I feel like if she didn't have me as her owner, she probably would have been abandoned or given back to her breeder or killed, because Addison's disease is a very expensive health issue. Every 6 weeks I take her to get a DOCP shot, and that shot basically keeps her alive. With that shot, she's very healthy, she's very active, but because of that, I feel like she probably would have been abandoned. And if you don't keep Addison's and if you don't keep up on treating Addison's, they will go into Addisonian crisis and die, and it's a really serious thing. So yeah, I love Phaedra. I think she's the best. Originally, what I wanted to get was a Doberman. I wanted to adopt a Doberman, but Ray's allergies are so bad that when we went to go look at Dobermans, I was just like, I can't do this to you because he was so miserable. And so I just started having to look into what breeds of dog are hypoallergenic, because he's not allergic to Phaedra. He does just fine with her. And I started looking at poodles because apparently I took like this Animal Planet what breed is best for you quiz online. And I came up as being very highly matched to poodles because I wanted a smart dog that was easy to train, that was an excellent companion, that loved people, and was okay around cats, because I still had one of my cats at that point in time. I had a cat named Quasar, who was a Burman, and I had adopted her when she was 9 years old, and she lived to be 15 and a half. So I have actually kept an eye out to adopt another poodle, but I swear every time I see a standard poodle, they're gone, like within, 24 hours. There are tons and tons of miniature poodles and toy poodles that are always available for adoption, but I don't want a little dog. The way we ended up with the Max was we were supposed to just be watching him temporarily, and he's been here for, 5.5 years, 6 years, no, probably longer than that at this point. I'm trying to think. It's been at least 6 years. I think we adopted him in like 2010, 2011. And he's like 14 and a half, 15 at this point. He's an old pug. And my husband's allergic to him. We're not even supposed to have him. But let's see, what else about Phaedra? Yes, she is super smart. Poodles are supposed to be the smartest or second smartest dog breed, depending on who you ask. She does need lots of attention. That's one of the reasons I got her, because I wanted a companion, and she's really good for my anxiety because she does help me to stay calm. I used to take her to work with me when I worked in an office, and everybody there loved her. That's actually how I socialized her, because we had like 30 people in the office, and she would just go, I would have her hang out with everybody. So she got used to people of all different colors and all different shapes and all different sizes and all different smells. So she loves people. She does need like a lot of exercise or play. Like I can't always go outside here in Florida during the summer because of my rosacea, because I will have a flare up from my rosacea. That basically too much heat and humidity and sweating is not good for my rosacea. It causes me to have a lot of problems. So when I can't go outside with her, I absolutely have to play with her for at least 45 minutes to an hour. Sometimes more. It just depends on like how she's feeling. And she's 9. She'll be 10 in August, but she still is very, very active and still loves to play. So like when you see her in my videos, she's worn out and napping usually. Sometimes she'll play with a toy, but in general, she wants to play with me. So we'll play like tug of war, or she'll play fetch. I'll toss things for her, and she really enjoys it. And basically you can exercise your dog in the house if you have to, but it's much better to be able to take her on like an hour-long walk. So in the wintertime, I can normally do that, and that's what I do, because she really does like to walk. And also sometimes I take her to the dog park. There's a great dog park by me that she loves, but it's a crapshoot when I go to the dog park if there's actually going to be anybody else there. So sometimes there's a lot of people, sometimes there's not. So yeah, she does work, but I knew what I was getting into when I got her, because like I said, I researched dog breeds to figure out what dog would be best for me, and that's what I tried to adopt. And then when I couldn't find I couldn't find a standard poodle to adopt, that's when I went and found a breeder. So I am all for adopting pets. It's just if you have specific issues, like for my husband, he needs to be around a dog he's not allergic to on a daily basis, like Phaedra. So that's why we have a poodle. That's why we have a standard poodle. The last question is from Rachel, and she says, what do you think is the future of beauty blogging? So my opinion is that you're going to see the continuation of microblogging, where you have these people who only blog on Instagram or Snapchat, and that's all they do. So I think that's going to continue. Although I personally think that Snapchat might be dying out. So I think because Instagram kind of went for Periscope with their Instagram Live and went for Snapchat with their Instagram Stories, I think more people are like me and just like to use Instagram rather than 3 different apps. So I kind of feel like maybe Snapchat's going to die out, or at least it's on the decline. I've never really liked Snapchat, but I love Instagram. I feel like the only thing missing from Instagram and the Instagram Stories is really the filters. So maybe if Instagram gets its act together and puts some filters in, more people will like that. But yeah, I think you're going to basically see more people doing all the microblogging who just swatch and blog on their Instagram. Videos are obviously on the rise. More and more people watch videos than read blogs. The other thing that I think that we're going to see is that I feel like more and more of you guys are asking, are demanding really people to be honest and transparent about things. And people like me who have always been honest and transparent, you love. But when you see other bigger beauty bloggers who are not transparent or honest, you call them out on it. And I think that's going to continue, because I think that honesty and transparency are key. And if you have somebody who's lying to you about whether or not it's a sponsored video or if they're using affiliate links, it's going to turn you off and make you not want to watch them. I know me personally, when I watch a video, if I can't tell and I suspect that something is sponsored, I do get a little disappointed, and I definitely don't always believe everything I hear because I'm like, well, I don't know if they're honest. And some people just don't disclose, and it really drives me crazy. All right, so that's it for this Q&A. I hope that you enjoyed this, and let me know if you want to do another one. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and share. I love it when you share my videos. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. Thanks so much for watching.